All right, this is my new experiment. I'm in the car, I'm driving. I realize as I'm driving around, just, not talking or trying to make a video or doing anything like that. It's just me driving around. I have this stone face like I'm not very happy. So, time lapse of me driving around and the camera's pointed at me. I look really a serious driver. That's what it is. I'm a serious driver. But anyway, this is a little bit of a test now, since I made a couple of videos for my friends using the audio on the GoPro camera, and I can see where the audio is better than it used to be on the other GoPro cameras, and it's trying to do some processing of background noise on the fly. And so there were times when the audio changed, even though it was the same recording. If I was stopped at a stoplight waiting to go again, then the sound would be different from when I was driving. And I think it was just trying to process the sound and filter things out and stuff like that. And so I just kind of put a little bit of equalization on it and tried to make it at least so you could hear my voice well enough. But I was not pleased with the overall quality of the sound in this particular situation. I think if the GoPro camera, if I were walking around the neighborhood with a selfie stick or something, it probably would sound just fine. But I think that the background noise of the car, it just wasn't working. So, excuse me. So anyway, now I'm going to try, this is a little experiment. I'm using the GoPro camera, and for audio I'm using the Zoom H1 audio recorder. It's a standby recorder for people who have no budget, who want to make little movies with their digital SLR camera or something and want just slightly better audio than what you would get from, well, basically, cameras like this GoPro or your digital SLR camera, they don't really have a microphone. They do, but it's just like a little pinhole with some sort of microphone inside of it. My my iPod Touch has the same thing, and I suppose a lot of phones, even smartphones, have some pretty small, kind of insignificant microphones on them for when you're trying to talk to people. So this one's a little bit more significant. It's a stereo pair of condenser microphones. Each one is about the size, the end of my pinky finger. So that's better than a little pinhole with some sort of microphone inside of it. And I like to use the foam ball just because I do. I'll be popping my P's and ta 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 ta. You get that sound across the front of the microphone when you pop your P's and you say words that start or end with T T T T T T. All right, you didn't need to hear that. All right, so this is really just an experiment. Nothing really to talk about, except I went on a little excursion today just because there was an Office Max. The store was closing. So Office Max, not going out of business, I guess, but they were closing a store, one of a couple of stores in the area. So so I went there. When I was out and about a couple days ago, I saw that the Office Max was closing, and I thought, I should go in there and look around. But I had just bought some milk. I had like 5 gallons of milk in the car, and I didn't want to then go over to Office Max and wander around for an hour looking at everything that was on clearance because the store is closing. So I went home thinking, oh man, I wish I would like to go through that Office Max and look around. So today I decided to go. I was also in search of some sort of exercise bike. I've been pleased with my ability to exercise as I've gone into my weight loss phase here. But and maybe you could see outside the car a little bit, it's autumn here, and we could get snow as early as tomorrow. Now, it won't stay. If we get snow tonight and tomorrow morning, it's going to melt within a few hours. So we're probably a good month, maybe 5 weeks away from having snow and have it stay for the rest of the winter. But in the meantime, just get up first thing in the morning, go for a bike ride. It's not practical already now because we're talking it's 25, 30 degrees outside, and that's Fahrenheit. So if I go out riding and the weather is that cold, I run a real risk, and I've had this problem before, of too much cold air just going right into my ears and causing an inner ear infection. And I've actually had dizzy spells as a result of having some inner ear problems, which all started when I went for a bike ride when it was just too cold outside to really do a bike ride. I think I get a little bit of relief from bothering my ears if I use headphones. Wear headphones. And the problem with wearing headphones, however, is that they don't really work well with my helmet. So I wear a hat, but I'm not wearing an actual helmet riding my bike. Not that I expect to have any kind of mishap, but you never know. So I don't know. I've got some earbuds that I just picked up at the Office Max that the store is closing. So maybe those earbuds will work with my headphones, or I'm sorry, with my helmet. Wear the earbuds instead of headphones, and then I can safely go around with a bike helmet on and still listen to something and have the earbuds sticking in my ear to prevent wind from going straight into my ear and freezing out my inner ear fluids, and you don't want that to happen. So once again, this I went down there to the Office Max, and I looked, and yeah, things are on sale, 20%, maybe 30% off. They said up to 50% off. They had a big sign, 50% off. But when you got closer, the sign said up to 50% off everything in the store. So some things were 20% off. They had some headphones and earbuds and stuff like that for 30% off. And that's good at 30% off, except that sometimes I think some of the prices at Office Max on certain things were already a little bit inflated anyway. I could probably find similar deals online anytime I want, and don't have to be swayed by some sort of sense of urgency that, the stores, they're going to run out. They can run out because I could probably find a similar deal on certain things, but they did have some headphones that I think they were a good deal, even compared to shopping online for deals. So I got a couple of headphone things and a couple of just little cables, and I was happy to walk away. It was strange because I remember back in the day, we're talking 25 years ago, and somewhere between 20 and 30 years ago, during that stretch of 20 to 30 years ago, I was so good at writing letters to people. My friends, I kept in touch writing letters, and I'd write them on a computer, type them out, and print them off really nicely. I always had a pretty good printer to work with, and I liked formatting my envelopes really well and typing addresses on envelopes and maybe picking out special stamps if they were doing something special at the post office. I'd buy a bunch of commemorative stamps and use them to mail letters to people and my friends. I was really happy with the way I wrote a lot and kept in touch with my friends. And I was very familiar with the office supply stores around town wherever I lived. And I was always interested in going to find nice paper and nice envelopes and just whatever you'd get from an office supply store. And then it wasn't long after I started working on the movies full time that I also got online, the internet at the house, and email, and started communicating with all of my friends through email. So the whole idea and the beauty of formatting a page and printing things just so was gone thanks to email. And I just never really became very familiar with office supply stores again after that. So, Office Max, this store closing because maybe guys like me aren't going to that store. Not enough business to keep it in business, right? So it's bittersweet to walk through Office Max and go, well, that looks interesting, but no, I don't think so. Maybe, no, I don't think so. Hey, that's a neat little accessory for an iPad, but I already have something that's almost the same. Okay, I don't think so. It was just, that's what I did. But really what I was looking for, and I got sidetracked, I was telling you this story, since it's going to be snowing, and since it's going to be too cold to ride the bike outside, I would like some sort of exercise bike. So I was trying to figure out what my options are, and there are a couple of thrift stores around that I thought I would check it out. And I found one, and they had a couple elliptical machines, but not an exercise bike. I did see at Walmart, they actually had in stock a little stand that you can use. You put you take your regular bicycle, and you stick it on this stand. It elevates the back wheel of the bike off the ground, and then it rolls it against some sort of there's some sort of roller on this stand that provides resistance, so that when you ride your bike, you get some feel of whether you want to simulate riding on a flat surface or riding uphill or whatever you want to simulate. You can kind of turn your regular bike into an exercise bike. So I thought about that. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it a little harder because, again, Walmart had one right there on the shelf, but I could probably save about $20 searching around online, and I should probably read some more reviews and just get really confident about that that's what I want. I was hoping I would find somebody's old exercise bike that they bought an exercise bike, they were really excited about it, then they never used it, then it sat in the corner and gathered dust for 10 years, then they gave it to the thrift store, then the thrift store was selling it for $15. That's what I was hoping to find today. I didn't really want an elliptical machine. What I would really like, but I just don't feel like I have the budget for it, is, I don't know why I'm intrigued by those exercise bikes that you sometimes see that have like a giant fan on the front. Instead of simulating some sort of wheel on the front or having some sort of gearbox that provides enough resistance to simulate a good bicycle workout, it's a fan. It looks like an oversized fan like that you'd put in your summer cabin, when it gets warm in the afternoon. I don't know why I like those so much. Maybe because I haven't tried them much. Maybe if I used them more, I'd say, I don't like that. But it'd be okay if it only cost me $15. What I did find, however, at the thrift store was a VCR. Now, I have one VCR left in the house that works. We used to have, 3 or 4 of them in the house, right? And then I had one in my office that's kind of what would you say? It's an industrial strength VCR. It's the kind that you could mount to a rack at a TV station in their tape room. It's a, very, very fancy professional level VCR. And that's now the only one that works anymore. And even so, it doesn't quite work right anymore. Sometimes you put a tape in, and it just pops it right back out immediately. So you have to put it, have to try like 3 or 4 times before it'll finally keep the tape in. At least that it doesn't actually damage the tape. It won't eat the tape, but it will sometimes just not hold the tape. When you first push it in, it just ejects it immediately. And so when you finally get the tape to stay in, then it works fine. And so I've been using that to slowly digitize some old material I have on VHS tapes that I may decide that I want to watch again at some point in my life. So yeah, I've digitized a few things with that. But I found a VCR for $6 at this thrift store that it was funny because it looked like it gathered a lot of dust. I pushed open the little door and could see that it looked pretty good inside, and they had some tapes there, so I plugged it into the wall and actually got to test it. They actually have a TV there, you can plug it in and test it. So I just found, like an old Dick Van Dyke Show tape, stuck it in there. The thing appears to be working correctly, so I may go through my archives and digitize a few more things, starting with some precious home movies that I made with my old VHS camcorder, and then ending up with, maybe I'll be able to watch and see if I have any kind of TV shows on VHS that I may have recorded someday that I may someday decide, well, I want to keep that. Something I can't get in a different format at the moment. We'll see. So that was my big deal. I saw some headphones that I bought at the Office Max store going out of business. I went through to a few different sporting goods stores and did not find what I wanted in as far as exercise bikes go. I'm getting the feeling that sporting goods stores don't necessarily sell that. And then the thrift store, I didn't find the bike, but I found the electronic stuff. All right, so here I go, just about home. And now I can get down to business. All right. And see how this recording turned out. Thanks for the ride.